Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Max with BuzzTox here, and I am back with a Wheel of Time Episode 3 review, where I give my initial reaction and review of the latest episode of Wheel of Time. And I do have to say, I think this was my favorite episode yet. It feels like the series is getting better and better in my opinion, and I think that's predicated on getting to know the characters better. I like that they separated the characters into two different groups. We had Egwene and Perrin, and we also had Matt and Rand. I think I love this episode so much because the whole plot wasn't predicated on this external threat. I feel like every episode so far had this existential threat. The Trollocs were following them. They went to a city of darkness. I feel like it was always dialed up to 100. And I liked this episode because it allowed the characters to breathe. We saw the characters interact in very human situations. And we met characters that I really like. So first, I'm going to start off with Rand and Matt. I think this is a really good pairing. I really enjoyed Matt, as always. I think the actor's doing a great job. I think this episode was great for my opinion on Rand. I've said the last couple episodes I haven't liked him. And this episode was a nice stepping stone towards me liking Rand a bit more. So they decided to continue to go east in hopes to go to the White Tower and find Egwene and Perrin. And we ended up seeing them stumble across this town. And this is a part of the story building that I love. We're diving into world building by seeing just a village and a group of people, rather than just constant dialogue of setting up the dragon and this existential threat. I liked how we were more in the moment. We ended up meeting the Gleeman, and his name is Tom Marilyn, and I think he's the most badass Gleeman I've ever seen. It's like you plucked him from 2021 and he was singing just straight up alternative music. I thought he was really cool. And he was one of those characters that's just instantly likable. So when he stole Matt's money, I actually found that endearing in a weird way. And I find the interactions funny between Tom Marilyn and Matt, because Tom is almost like an older version of Matt. So I liked seeing the characters play out that way. And I just loved how they dived into Matt's character even more. How, he wants to go home, he wants to take care of his sisters, but he has this like innate anger and entitlement. He doesn't want to work to get room and board. He tries to get the girl, he does his own thing, and Rand's the one who has to work. And once again, he tries to go to the body and he resorts to stealing out of desperation, and that's just how he was brought up. And I loved the scene between Matt and Tom in the end, because it was almost like a father-son moment that Matt never really had, where Tom allowed him to steal, but also show respect to the dead, and he actually spent the time to bury him. I think they actually did a great job, too, at world building in that moment. Tom communicating who this person was, what group he's a part of, why he wasn't a threat, and it's further just building out the world. And I love when they world build, when they intersect it with a character scene. So I love in the end how Tom ended up saving Rand and Matt, and they're going on a journey together. I absolutely love this character. I hope he sticks around. I hope he becomes a main character as the show continues. So while Matt was developing that relationship with the Gleeman, Rand was really just putting in work so they could stay the night. I like that Rand had some humor this episode. I thought that was nice. He was constantly teasing his buddy Matt, to the point where I think Matt was just the butt of everyone's joke. And once again, I feel like Rand, it's not the actor's fault, but I feel like the show puts Rand in the strangest situations, where when Rand was talking to that woman, you could tell that it was getting serious. And then I loved the twist that she was actually trying to kill him or capture him because she feels like the Dark One is good in this situation, to break the wheel, because the wheel does nothing but roll over the poor. It causes pain and suffering, and she wants to end it. So I thought it was funny when she cornered him, and she said like 3 times that this room is silent. No one can hear you. Did I mention that? You can't break down the doors. They're made of titanium, and they're super duper strong, Rand, so you can't leave. And she watches him just body check this door. And then she looks concerned, and then he breaks down the door. And I don't know how to feel about that. Like, did he bring out his inner dragon? Like, does he have super strength? I just thought the scene was just so bizarre. Like, she just watched him break down the door. So all in all, I appreciate a show trying to show a character being strong or being tactical or having some type of skill. But I feel like this was a really cheesy way to do it. Like, I get it, he's strong. But you don't need to preface it by telling me that it's made of steel and it's 3 doors thick, and then he just breaks it down. It just, I don't know, I personally thought it was funny. It just kind of took me out of it. And then when Matt and him were running away from that woman, like, I couldn't help but smile. But anyways, their story I thought was very entertaining. I love the new addition to Tom Maryland as the Gleeman. Now, moving on to Perrin and Egwene. They were basically just surviving. They had a lot of character moments that I really appreciated. I actually thought the scene where she told Perrin that he didn't have to protect her, and he got emotional. And I actually thought that was a very powerful scene. I thought that was a great scene. I love seeing these two characters together. We get more hint at the wolves. They're being chased, and I knew it was the same thing where the wolves just want to play. Like, there's no aggression at all, but it's being treated as if they're running away from a very serious threat. It turns out the wolves guided them to a path at which they could follow. So that's good. And because of that path, they ended up discovering the travelers, and they're actually a very good group of people. They offered them a fire and food for as long as they need it, a place to stay. So it is safe to say that they are in good hands. But the same cannot be said for Moiraine, Lee, and Nynaeve. I'm very happy Nynaeve came back. She made an impression on me in the first episode. I do really like her character. We get to see her fight the Trolloc. She kind of spilt blood in their magical pond, which I think has some symbolism there. The purity of the water ended up fading to a deep red, and it mirrored the death of that woman who Tom Maryland killed. But she ended up attempting to heal Moiraine. She does not disclose to Lee how she ended up tracking him, so I think there's still a lot of mystery to Nynaeve. But they ended up stumbling on a group of their own, more Aes Sedai. They wear different colored coats. I apologize, I haven't read much of the book, so as a viewer perspective, I see as the green coat that Nynaeve wears is healing. The red coat, I don't know what that is. I don't know if they have almost like a ability where they can impose pain on people, because that's what she did in the first episode. But the gist I'm getting is they stumbled across a group of Aes Sedai that are in different fields of specialization. And we'll get to learn more about that next episode. Moiraine is wearing blue. What does blue mean? What is her specialization? And I'm excited to see that interaction because they're all grouped under Aes Sedai, but I imagine their politics are very different. They believe in different things. They have different strategies in how to find the Dragon Reborn. So I think that's going to be exciting. Just like in the last episode when we saw the White Cloaks, and the guy seemed very evil. He's killing these women, and he's taking their rings, and he's killing Aes Sedai. This woman in red justifies that man's opinion. So I feel like the show is going to a place where the villains are on opposite sides of the spectrum. Where you have the Trollocs and the Fade, but the real enemy at this point of the show is you have the White Cloaks on one side who are exterminating the Aes Sedai, and then on the other side you have that red woman who's an Aes Sedai who takes things to very extreme measures, and then you have Moiraine kind of in the middle with Rand, Perrin, Egwene, and Matt. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I imagine they're going to reunite in the next episode or two. But those are my opinions of this episode. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.